he is 100% worth it.
He takes it to another level. Oh my God, I just fell in love with it.
Thanks so much, Jay.
Blew my mind. And it worked. I wanted to buy my thing.
Jay is, I would say, the Yoda of sales calls, man.
Just talking to Jay, he was so good at just taking what it is, seeing the opportunity and the value and the real reason we are making it.
Talk to Jay because he got it. He can definitely help you out.
Talk to Jay. You're going to get a lot. You're going to gain a lot.
I would absolutely recommend him for any position that you have.
Jay's definitely the guy.
Give him the chance, give him the opportunity. You won't regret it.
He's good at what he does, so I highly recommend him, and I would book him before he is fully booked out.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Sales Ninja Show. My name is Jay Lee, and I am the host of the Sales Ninja Show, where we cut through the noise, ditch outdated sales tactics, and show you how to close sales without sounding salesy, sleazy, or making prospects sleepy with boring offers. As a former banker, introvert, and former pastor, and a seven-figure high-ticket sales ninja, I now help grow and scale businesses like yours without the need for pushy tactics, and that's the heart of the reverse glass selling method, a kingdom-driven approach from the Bible, 1 Peter 3:15, which is built on trust, service, and true connection. My mission is to help 1 million people break the cycle of generational poverty so that you can sell more to give more. Today's guest has been helping Canadians protect and grow their assets for nearly 20 years. His company has been in business for 18 of those 20, built not on advertising or cold leads, but on strong client relationships and referrals. He is the person to go to. He is an expert in silver and gold investing, wealth preservation, and teaching the history of money to help people safeguard their futures from the risks posed by bankers and politicians. So let's welcome Luke Spicer. What is up, Luke? How you doing, brother?
What's up, Jay? I'm good, man. Your intros are pretty awesome. I like those. The only thing I would add to your intro for me, just so it's clear, because I like transparency and being honest. Our company's been around 18 years. I've been with the company for 3 years.
Okay.
So just so that's clear. I've invested and I've known the owner for 25 years. So I've been working with him for a lot longer. I had a construction company, concrete company in Canada for 20 years. And I sold it a few years ago. All the assets, just kind of shut it down. And when I went to work with our company, and so just so that part's clear. I don't want somebody to come on and go, "You told me you had 20 years," and so just so your audience is clear. But 100%. We've been around. We've been helping Canadians a really long time. So that was a good intro.
Thank you. So thanks for course correction. That's always welcome. In Proverbs 27:17, so one man sharpens another. So as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another, and always opening to course correction to make sure that we get it right. You had a construction company for how many years?
20.
Wow.
Yeah.
So tell us what that was like. What did you do? What kind of work? What kind of projects did you have?
So right out of high school, I was going to go be an engineer and an architect. And I decided to just take a year off, and I actually never went back. I always worked doing carpentry through high school, right? Framing fences, garages, that kind of stuff. So I entered the construction trade like kind of full time after I graduated high school. I ended up working for a concrete foundation company. I kind of fell in love with just like working with, even more. And it's funny because I think back and I was getting $8 an hour. And I remember my first like full-time check, right? Whatever it was, say it was like $800 or something, right? 100 hours, whatever. And I just remember feeling like, man, I'm going to be so rich. and I, so I decided not to go to university after that summer because I had never made that much money in the summer. And I was like, shit, man, this is going to be awesome. And so I just kept working, and my parents were choked, and I didn't go back. And then I ended up not staying with that company after about 8 months, right? We went through some stuff, and I got hired on by my neighbor, like just down the street, for doing flat work concrete. He told me it was the same as what I was doing before. It's nothing the same, but it was like, I went to work there, and I don't know, I fell in love with doing that kind of work. And I was there for 3.5 years. And then they made some internal changes. They started doing more commercial work. I was doing the residential, real decorative stuff. And I didn't like the boring commercial work. And so I went to work for, at my time, my like boss at the company, who also left. 10 months into that ordeal, he owed me 10 grand and never paid me. I never ever got paid. I started my own company called Creative Concrete. It was supposed to just be to do some side work, but still get the expenses and the write-offs. But then when he hadn't paid me for 6 weeks, I was like, okay, I quit. I'm leaving. He ended up shutting the company down. I went and helped myself to a pile of tools and equipment, and told him, we're basically even. And that's how I started the company. And what I took was nowhere near what he owed me, like not even close. But it was enough for me to get a few pieces of equipment that I needed, like a power trowel and a couple things like that. And I just started the company. And I had no idea what I was going to do. At the time, I couldn't even really pour all the concrete. I could prep it really good because I was a carpenter. I hired some really good guys who knew what they were doing for that end. And I just went to work. I got everything ready. And then on the pour days, I said, you guys are in charge, more than me. And then eventually got to a point where, like, obviously I could do everything. We grew. We had 23 employees, multiple crews, multiple trucks. We were doing over 7 figures every year. And
wow, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mostly in the summer too. Like it was like we were doing $200,000-$300,000 months in the summer.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. And then I just I went through a divorce 10 years in. And all that growth, like it occurred, like we doubled revenue for the first 4 years, 200, 400, 800, and then it went to about 1.2. And then we just sort of stayed there for years. And then I went through, I stopped drinking, right? That was 7 years into business. I stopped drinking. And then 10 years into business, I got divorced, and that changed everything, man. I didn't want to do it anymore. It was too hard to work. My kids were young. I didn't have anybody to look after them the same way. It just slowly was this decline, right? Until basically I met, oh man, it would have been, where are we at there? It would have been probably 5 years left. Like after 15 years, maybe it was after 14 years, I met my current wife, and then she kind of revitalized me because she was checking out all the work we did. And I was like, I hate this, and she's like, well, why'd you start? And I was like, well, I like the decorative work and I like this. She's like, well, just do that. I'm like, it's not that easy. And she's like, yes, it is. You just say that's all you're going to do. And then that's the only work you take on. And you just go do the work you love. And don't worry about anything else. And I'm like, yeah, that's not going to work, is what kind of I said. And then I get this phone call while I'm with her, and this guy wants this patio, and he literally says, I just want as boring, as cheap as possible. And because gray concrete's just cheap, right? But I wanted to do decorative. And I used to always try to upsell to decorative, and most people didn't want it because they had a budget, right? But they still wanted me. And on this call, I don't know what my wife came over me. I was like, oh yeah, we don't do that anymore. And he goes, what? And I said, all I do is decorative concrete. I've changed our whole business game. I went back to how I started. I said, I'm not taking on gray, boring work anymore. I said, if you want me, we'll do it, but it's got to be stamped or, exposed aggregate or something. So he asked for a number. I gave it to him. He's like, actually, that's not too bad. And it'll be all decorative. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, man, where can I send the deposit? And I was like, on the phone, I was like, okay. Right. I was like, this actually worked. I'm looking at my wife because we're out doing this. I'm cleaning up this job that's boring and I just don't want to do it anymore. I'm not happy. I'm doing it just for the money. And so then this went on for 4 years. We just only did that kind of work. And I mean, every once in a while I do a little, something that made sense or whatever, but we only talked about what we were doing, and we got so much work. Like I just became kind of the guy to do decorative concrete, and then, but even still, then it was like the seasonality, because now we worked in the summer, but I didn't have any builders to do winter work. And, I got rid of all my home builders. I didn't work for any of them anymore. And so winter was always like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I was like trying to find something else. We started a yoga studio with float tanks, and then COVID shut that down. And I mean, I had a home building company. We built a few homes. This was before my current wife, like on the side. I was always trying to do something different. And like, I just knew that I could do way more. And so then that's what kind of happened is then, yeah, on year 20, I started with the current company that I'm with. And I knew I wanted to make a change. So I talked to the owner, I knew him, and I just said, man, I really gotta, we're a private company. So it might be weird for your audience. Like I won't say the name on the air because it's a private company. We have a public company called Gold Silver Billionaire that was what we listed at the farmers market, but we pulled out of there. You can find us online, but the best way is just reaching out to me on Instagram or something like that. The Duke_Spicer is my Instagram. And so anyway, so I went to work there. We went back and forth on me working there, what it would look like, that kind of stuff. And then we said, he gave me the opportunity, to come work with him. And it was like anything, right? I mean, you got to start at the bottom. So it was more like, I kind of had a rough idea of what we were doing because I was a client of his and he's a mentor of mine. And so I just sort of would talk to people, but I basically was just like, hey, Jay, this is, what are you doing for your investing? It was real clunky too, right? Because I'm like a concrete guy. I was very confident in selling concrete, but like, yeah. But honestly, like now that I'm like, in a different world again, like this is my main focus, but, working for some other guys, doing some other high ticket sales and kind of some setting. I didn't realize it back then, but all I was doing was setting my clients for Brad, the owner. I would get you to come to the office because you trusted me. I was like, you got to see this guy, blah, blah, blah. And he'd come in and then we'd close these deals. And we had this arrangement that he would basically, we had a commission split, and he said, like you'll get this much, it's a low commission. And then once we start doing the meetings where you're like taking over the meetings, you're starting to do them a little bit more, we'll split the commission. And then once you're all on your own, you'll get like 75% of the total. And I was like, okay, well, I want to get 75 as quick as possible. So like we did a few where it was like on this low split, but because I was bringing so many and he really wanted me to succeed, I remember the first commission check I got, I was like, hey, this isn't right. Like you're already giving me the 50-50 split. Like you said it was supposed to be 25. And I just like, did you guys make a mistake?
Yeah.
Wow. He's a man of faith too. And he goes, this always cheers me up. He just said, he just wanted me to be successful. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So he gave me the higher split because he knew I could escape construction. So that first year, though, I did both. It was brutal. Like I'd get a phone call, hey, can we meet you at the office? And I'd be like knee deep in concrete, like never knee deep, but we're pouring concrete. And I'd be like, oh yeah, Jay, well, I got a pretty busy day today, but and I'd be like, kind of like, I mean, I did concrete for 25 years. So I had a rough idea of like when I could leave and come back, and I would just say, yeah, let me check my calendar. And while I would check the calendar, I'd be kind of looking at my phone, trying to figure out a time. I'd be like, I do have a gap at 3:30. And my 4 guys I had would look at me like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, yeah, could you meet me at the office at 3:30? I got a half hour. I don't have a ton of time, but we can meet. Oh yeah, okay. And so I would like run home at 3. I'd shower. I'd put on like clothes. I'd drive to the office. I'd meet the client. I'd like wait for them to leave. I'd run downstairs in the parking lot. I'd strip off my clothes, put on the work clothes, and drive back to the concrete site. And
what, after you were done?
Hey?
After you were done, you'd go back into your concrete stuff?
Well, yeah, because the job would be like half finished or something like that. I would like put yeah, it was like brutal. And then I'd have to come and I'd have to like work my tail off because the concrete would be like harder or whatever than it should have been because I like left it for
It
an
was
hour.
setting. Yeah.
Yeah. And not all the time. Like if I didn't work, I would like book it for the next day. And so or I'd book it like late at night, like after I was finished, you know. And the clients always like, oh man, like you're working so hard, like you work in long hours. I'm like, hey, this is what I want to do, you know? And so after that first year, man, I only made 28 grand doing what I doing the investing. And like I just said to my wife, like, I can't do this anymore. Like I can't do both. This is crazy. And I did a lot of praying and um and at this point I was on my own, right? Like I was doing meetings by myself because what happened is I think we did 5 or 6 meetings together, me and Brad, and then I was just like I was actually more nervous to do a presentation and meeting in front of him than I was to do it by myself. So I actually just booked a meeting by myself and I did it and it flopped. It was so bad with one of our assistants or like Brad's assistant. And but it flopped for other reasons, not because of what I did. But well, it was. I take ownership. Like I made a mistake with how I communicated who this guy was to the assistant. And then when we were walking out of the meeting, Brad, the owner, Brad was like, what's going on? And I was like, I have to say that basically I did this without having him in to see how I did it. And he's like, hey, we're supposed to do this together one time. And I was like, oh, what are you doing at 2? And he's like, oh, I've got to run. I'm going out. I was like, oh, okay. And so then he leaves. And then I look back at the office admin lady. I was like, so can you help me? Because I lined up another meeting to do by myself. And she's like, he just told you. I was like, yeah, but he's gone. So like, what am I supposed to do? Cancel the guy? And this guy came in and it was like a $200,000 transaction, and it went through. Everything was done, like we did it. And then as he's leaving, the owner shows back up, right? Like in the office, and we introduce and Brad, he's like looking at me like kind of like you just did it again. And then he leaves and then he walks out. He's like, did you just do another meeting? I was like, well, I already had it lined up. You said you were busy. I didn't want to throw it on you. And then Lori goes, that was the easiest thing we ever did. It was like 200 grand and it's done. And he just shakes my hand, goes, you're on your own, right? Like like that was like the passing of the torch. And like he's helped me like so many times since, right? Like I mean, I bounce things off of him. We talk all the time. And but yeah, so then at the end of that year, me helping clients, going back and forth, I just said, like, I can't do this. I did a lot of praying and I decided I'm shutting the company down, the concrete company, and I'm going to just go all into this. And it was like I started liquidating assets, right? Selling equipment, selling vehicles, cleaning up. That was how I paid for winter because I still wasn't busy enough to do, I can't survive on $28,000 in a year. Like I'm going to need to 10x that. And, without like saying exactly what I made the second year, I think I made more than anybody besides the owner has made in the company in a year.
Wow.
And as I just went hard, like so hard. I think it was around 15 million I sold that year in silver and gold, my second year. And this year is like gonna obviously surpass that. And so now I just took a very different approach, right? And like I started to really study, history and the cycles and what's going on and why assets like silver and gold make a lot of sense for anybody, but I mean, mostly Canadians. That's who my clients are. I really want to help Canadians. We can ship all through the US too, but my focus has still always just been Canadians. And I just did so that very first year, right? I'd ask the owner like, hey, I really want to do what you do. Like, I know that I'm coming in, I know that I'm bringing clients, but like, man, I need a step-by-step guide on what to do. And he's like, do this, right? And I was like, 20 years of business experience. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not, right? Like pick and choose some of these things because that feels weird or whatever. And so when I decided that I was going to go full time, I kind of said, hey, like, I have to do this. He's like, I don't think that's a great idea. Like, I think you should still wait till you replace your income. And I was like, I'll never be able to replace it. I've done a lot of praying. I said, this is what I need. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And he's like, well, I support you. Like, and I said, well, I need to know what to do. And like metaphorically, he's like, well, to be honest, you're not following the system that I set out. So you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. And I was like, okay. So I just was like, all right, fine. That's what I'm going to do. And I just did it his system, like the way that he said to do it. And it was like, I got a couple here, a couple there. And it was like, we got into spring where it was, the summer, the busy season of concrete where I'm not making any money. And it was June, now it's July. And I'm like, oh man, did I make a mistake? Like, this is when we make all of our money and I haven't made anything yet. And then I did a couple really big sales in July, like $1 million and more stuff. And I was like, oh, I just need to do more of those. This is easy. This is super easy. Why don't I just do more of these? And then everything just changed, man. And then you start to get referrals and more. And then I start doing some more podcasts and helping more Canadians. And like now it's just, I get calls every day from somebody, hey, you helped my friend Jay, or hey, you helped, Bill, and he gave me your number, and or the clients are phoning me, hey, can you phone my friend Jay? Can you phone this person? Yeah, absolutely. Like, so we don't help the general public. Like I don't answer unknown calls. I don't take, we're closed. Our office is not listed on Google where we are or anything like that. Right. So like you have to know one of us to come do work with us, right? And so when I do these podcasts, I always say to the audience, I was like, hey, if somebody calls and says, I heard you on the Jay Lee Sales Ninja show, I'll help those people, because to me, they're your referral, right? We've talked lots off camera and stuff, and you know what I'm about. And so, it's like, if you're telling your audience and they're happy and they want to chat, then let's do it.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that story. That's crazy, of just, even going all in and not really having a security blanket. And then, the story about Brad supporting you and compensating you, prematurely, which is, generosity and, character of his faith in God. And I know that we all share that faith in God, at least you, Brad, and myself.
Oh yeah.
So let's get to the nuts and bolts to find the hidden gold. Pardon the pun. So let's say I have $100,000 locked up in all these different savings that I'm going to lose money probably on because of different reasons. Yep. Educate me as someone who has intent, buyer signals, buyer intent, and uneducated, but not stupid, in saying that I have $100,000 that is going to do what at the end of when I retire, versus if I was to lock in right now with gold or silver, how much more could I make? Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. So to put it in perspective, because obviously, like anything, it goes up and down, and it's funny because I start sharing statistics, and people that are like in the insurance industry or the traditional, GIC mutual fund stuff, they're like, oh, you can't, that doesn't mean what it's going to do later. I'm like, bro, you guys share 10-year statistics all the time, or year-to-date statistics all the time. How's this any different for what we're doing? Just because it's kicking your butt and everything doesn't mean it's right or wrong.
Right.
It's actually right. There's a reason why. So we've studied wealth cycles, right? So we look to buy undervalued assets and sell them when they go up. That could be real estate, and it was before. We bought 400 apartments in Phoenix when everything crashed in 2008. We funded it with office and client money, and then we sold it in 2015 for a 300% return.
Wow.
And that's when we got into silver and gold. And at that time, silver was like $14 or something like that, Canadian, and gold was like 900. And now we're sitting at 60, like it's like $73 market for silver. So just so your audience knows, if they're unfamiliar, I'll kind of start at the very kind of beginning, because I will address your $100,000 question. But
yeah, I'm a newbie, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, there's two prices for silver and gold, because we're not talking about trading the price of silver or gold online. We're talking about buying physical silver and gold, like rounds or bars or something like that, right? So when our clients order something, sorry for the noise and the stuff, I'm just pulling it out of a package. So like when our clients order it, they're going to end up getting like silver bars, right?
Yeah.
That's what they get. Or now I focus on rounds. Those bars are for my groceries. So so we buy mostly rounds. They're a coin signifies a federal mint and a round signifies a private mint. So I stick to private minted coin because in the 1930s, when the government confiscated or nationalized silver and gold, they took it all. They took their silver and gold. They didn't take privately minted silver and gold.
Really?
And when that happened, the price of gold went up 75% within 2 weeks, right? So who would want that return? Went from $20 an ounce USD to 35 USD in 2 weeks after because they used it to reback the dollar, and that's a history lesson for another time, right? And I explained that a lot on talks. So anyway, so there's market price and spot price, and what you see on the stock ticker, like on the trading floor for silver and gold, that's the spot price. That's the raw material in the ground. So to get it out of the ground, melt it, mint it, stamp it, ship it as a bar like I just showed, there's a cost for that. And for silver, it's usually between $5 and $8 an ounce above the spot price. And for gold, it's about 160 to 180. Now, again, if you're ordering $1 million, you're probably going to get a better rate on that. If you're ordering 1 ounce, you're going to pay more, right? Like it's a volume-based game. We can play with our commissions. I mean, so we can do that depending on the size of the order or whatever. So when you buy silver and gold, just like when I buy silver and gold, I pay market price. So we bill it out to our clients at market price. We're compensated by the mints given the total silver and gold that we sell in a given period. So like if you're buying $5,000 from me, I'm not trying to beat you up and make $1 million on your $5,000 order. I'm just like, hey, I'm selling it for what a fair price is because I know that that's going to add in. And if I sell more than a certain benchmark, I make more, but it doesn't affect your purchase. Does that make sense?
It does.
And so, but when you sell silver back to a bullion dealer like myself or somebody else, they buy it back at usually below spot, usually a couple ounces below spot. We buy back at spot from our clients if they bought from us.
Really?
Yeah. So we have one of the highest buybacks in Canada, but we don't buy at that rate for non-clients. It's like a benefit of being our client.
Yeah.
Because we really want to take care. So we're not in the business of selling an ounce here or an ounce there. We're talking to our clients about wealth creation and preservation, right? That's the purpose of it. So now to get back to your question. So if you had 100 grand and we were talking in early January, right? You would buy 100 grand at market price, but you'd have to sell it at spot price. So the day you buy it and drive it off the lot, it's worth a slightly less than what you paid for it, right? Okay. So you'd see a deficit right away.
Right.
And now again, we're not buying it to sell it tomorrow. It's a hedge against inflation to your purchasing power. Silver spot price year to date is up 61.5%. So the spot to market dependent, because it's usually the same dollar value. It's not a percentage above spot. It's always that same because it's the cost to make the ounce. So that doesn't really change, so to speak. And it also depends on supply and demand and all this stuff. So if you would have spent $100,000 in January, it would be safe to say that you've probably got about 145,000 today worth of silver. Yeah. Nothing is performed
9 months.
Yeah, 100%. So I've been sharing a lot on my social media lately, and I never did this because I actually thought it was kind of in bad taste, right? When guys were sharing like client successes, it's kind of like the guy that's like, yeah, I won at the VLTs. It's like, but how much did you spend? But like, because we're just in such a crazy time, I'm like, no, I have to share these. So like I have a client who, my first client I ever helped, I'd asked, I was like, hey, can you share your screenshot of your like registered account? Because like we did an RSP transfer from when she started. And it was that one was in like January, I think, or February it was February, I think, of like 2.5 years ago kind of thing. She's up 72%. Total profit, right? So she's on. So by January, she'll have made 100% in 3 years, right? And so when I talk about these returns and these percentages, people are like, "Oh yeah, but it's at like all-time highs." And like the reason silver and gold are at all-time highs is because the dollar is at all-time lows. And this has happened before and it'll happen again. There's nothing new under the sun, right? And history repeats itself. And the only thing,
just interrupt just for a second, because just for the audience and even for myself to do the money math, let's say your client put $100,000 in 2.5 years ago. If they're up 100% in 3 years, how much have they made?
$100,000. They'd have 200,000.
Double their amount.
Yes. Yeah, the rule of 72, man. I mean, all these insurance guys talk about that all the time, you know, and they base it off of 10% annually, and silver's destroying that. It's averaging like 30% a year, the last few years.
So you're saying a 30% increase annually for silver?
Yeah.
And what's a rule of 72?
Like it's like, how long does it take for your money to double, right? And so if it earns a certain percentage, then you know it'll take this many years to double. And you know, obviously the higher rate of return, the faster your money will double, right? Like if you're getting 100%, well then you're doubling every year, but that's like pretty, you know,
so
unheard
here's maybe a question based on, you know, people who are listening to this are going to be like dumbfounded. They're like, what? I haven't done this. So, I mean, and you can't predict the future because we don't know the market, what it's going to be, unless you can tell me historically on average. Let's say, you know, someone put $100,000 today and 3 years later, are they going to expect the same result, or are they going to lose money, or are they going to make a little bit of money?
Yeah, I mean, I don't make predictions because the future is pretty hard, but I'll just say this, and I say this to all my clients. I don't tell clients what to do. I tell clients what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right. I 100% will still be buying silver when it's $100 an ounce Canadian, without a doubt, because I believe that, and that's like, I buy silver every month. So you know, we run a pretty strict budget in our house. I know what I need to pay my bills. After the mortgage and the utilities are paid and some of our kids' like activities, we budget a little bit for food and fuel. Well, and I pay for my groceries with silver. I have a arrangement with a online grocer, and he's a friend. Real? Yeah, for real. Yeah, I pay him with silver every week. He just adds it. He just adds the value to my account, and then he's got a bar of silver. And
sorry, let me just pause for a second. I think that's pretty phenomenal. So because this language doesn't sound normal for me. So let's say you said you have this arrangement with this grocer owner, whatever, who's going to take the payment through not Bitcoin, not cryptocurrency, not cash, not Visa, not debit, but silver. Are you giving them silver rounds, coins, bars?
That bar I showed you, I specifically have this for my grocer. It's 10 ounces. So today's price, I mean, that's about $725.
So how many ounces is that?
10.
10 ounces is $720?
Yeah. And those used to be like about 430.
It was 430.
Mm-hmm.
When was that?
A year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
Okay, so let's say you spend, I don't know, $100 in grocery, and you give him a silver bar. He gives you a credit.
Yeah, yeah.
But
he just
change all the time.
Yeah, it does. We just base it off of the price that day that I give him the bar.
So if it drops like drastically,
yeah, he would lose money too. But the idea of it dropping drastically right now, I mean, the only time so there's been a couple of times, if you study, you know, if you look at the stock ticker chart, right? Like back when COVID happened, the market tanked, silver and gold tanked. Silver and gold appreciated so fast. They came way up. And so what happens, that a lot of people don't realize, is when the market drops, right? So much trading exists right now in the stock exchange on margin, right? Like people have margin accounts, so they're trading differently. So when an announcement comes, or something like COVID, or like back in April, the market, you know, tanked again, right? So did silver and gold when Trump announced the tariffs, right? And we went into that tariff war. Stocks are dropping, but you don't want to lose your position on the stock, because you know it's like this rare thing. It's not like the whole market is crashing. So it's a pullback. So now what happens is that then now people sell off their silver. They sell off good assets to cover this trade, so that they can then stay in the trade, and then it recoups, And then they're like, whew, good. Now I can pull some cash out of my margin account. I can rebuy silver. Oh, wait, I need to rebuy silver and gold, but it's now way higher. It's appreciated way faster. Most advisors and things, in my opinion, are not investing where they're telling their clients to invest. They're not. And I know that because I actually move accounts for advisors.
Oh my gosh.
And it pisses me off because it's like, when are we going to help your clients? Well, we can't do that because we can't make money. I don't get paid year after year on this appreciation for silver and gold. I get paid one time on the sale of it, and that's it, right? And so when I give you your silver, or when we move your RSP account over and it's invested in physical silver, right? That's something else that we do. All the gains are yours as the client. I don't get paid year after year after year for managing your account. We do it all in-house, and we do it for our one-time admin fee, and that's it, right? It's a one-time payment for however many accounts clients have, and all the appreciation, all the wealth preservation is yours as a client. So it should be. So people say, well, Luke, that means you have to constantly help new people. I'm like, yeah. And I'm grateful for that, because it means that I'm actually doing what I'm supposed to do. I don't just get 100 clients and then manage their accounts and they perform crappy and I get paid year after year after year. Right. And I wasn't as vocal about this because I was like, I shouldn't do this, but I'm getting angry now, because it's like, when I started this, people were like downplaying me and what I was doing. And like, I couldn't possibly know because I'm new to the industry. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not new to investing. I had a business for 20 years. I was very successful. I just didn't help people. I poured concrete and helped myself. And now I'm like, I'm going to take what I've learned from Brad, and I'm going to help more people, and I'm going to talk about it. But people tried to downplay, like I said, what we were doing. And now it's like, you can't deny anything. Like, a year ago, I was talking about this and how important it was. And now you see people like Warren Buffett and everybody else talking about why they should maybe hedge against it. Ray Dalio's talking about it again. Everybody thought he was a quack in the 70s when he talked about buying silver. And look what silver did, right? I'll leave because I know I've got another call, and we're going to have to do a part 2 or something,
yes,
bro,
100%.
because I feel like your audience deserves it.
Yeah.
1970, the average 3-bedroom home in America was about $22,000, right? 1980, $47,000, 100% in 10 years, right? 10% annually. If you bought $22,000 of silver in 1970, in 1980, it was worth $552,000. People say, well, I can't live in my house. I can't do that. You can look this up. It was $1.74 American in 1970, and it was $50 in 1980. And then it came back down. And so I don't believe in holding silver and gold for life. That's not what these assets are for. These assets are designed for periods that we're in right now. They're protecting your purchasing power. They're outpacing inflation. They're doing everything. The banks don't want you to know this. The institutions don't want you to know this because they can't make money off of you. The bank, when you transfer money out of the bank, it's out of the system. When you transfer it from bank to bank, it stays within the banking system. They can't leverage your energy anymore when you move it out and put it into physical assets like silver and gold.
So when you say you educate people and you say, the gold and silver is not something that you keep forever, how do they know when to pull out? Do you advise them, or do they make their own decision?
No, we tell our clients we're moving.
Oh my gosh.
The thing is real estate will crash in North America without a doubt. I don't know if you've known. Did you see that the U.S. government's threatening a shutdown? Did you see that yesterday?
No,
Barely made the news. Yeah,
I didn't know.
Look it up.
Okay.
They can't come up. They can't balance the Fed rate and the like their finance stuff, right? The dollar's at its all-time low, the American dollar, and they're threatening a government shutdown. And most people don't even know, right? So it's like, it's like scary, and people are like freaking out. But the problem is most people don't educate themselves. Most people don't spend time to find these things out. And I don't believe in doom and gloom selling. Like, I know there's there's a trigger of fear of missing out, scarcity, all that stuff. Less than 0.25% of the planet has physical silver and gold. If 3% of the planet had silver and gold, there'd be no more on the planet to hold. it's very scarce, right? And people think
Wow,
it's
really?
abundant. Like we,
Really?
yeah, yeah, and like silver is not like when gold's pulled out of the ground, it's kept above the ground. It's not used in a lot of stuff. It's like wealth storage and jewelry, right?
Yeah.
Where silver's used in everything. Silver's used in technology like our computers, solar panels, electric charge stations. There's 500 ounces of silver in a Tomahawk missile. So when they shoot it, it's vaporized, right? Like, sure, it'll be recovered someday, right? When it's like, I think, like, I mean, it's atomized, it's still here, it always stays on Earth. But yeah, so it's one of those things where as silver's pulled out of the ground and it's used, there becomes less and less. And the gap between silver and gold is like 80. I didn't check it today, so don't quote me on it, but it's around like 80-1, right? And traditional time it should be about 20-1. So that means silver is like way undervalued compared to gold, which is why we're seeing such a drastic increase in the price of silver right now.
Wow. So that's the outlier. That's the untapped potential is silver, this rising star, which is so scarce, and people don't even know about this. And so are you recommending gold and silver, or saying, hey, if you want to get started, go for silver first?
I only buy silver. Right now, I only buy silver. Yeah, for that reason, because it's so undervalued. Most of my really large clients only buy silver too. Warren Buffett only buys silver.
Really?
Like, yeah. And he buys it because it has a utility use, where gold is, yes, a store of value, but silver's used in everything. So he sees it. Right. I think the last thing that was posted, I think he's got like $5 billion worth of silver or something like that.
Wow, really?
Yeah. And I don't know, it might have changed, but like last time I looked, I think that's what the estimate was. But that was in the summer when the price of silver was lower. So it's probably a lot more now.
Okay. Well, that brings us to a wrap. I mean, now you're going from concrete pouring to pouring gold and silver bars and creating this wealth and being able to keep it and sustain it. This is incredible. This is so eye-opening in real time for me. Thank you for sharing your incredible story of and being generous with your time, and even just that heart-wrenching story of Brad's generosity and your faith in God has been inspiring, motivating, and transformational. We're definitely gonna have to do a part 2 or 3. I almost see like a series going where we have our own show, but that's
Hey
something
man,
for later.
I'm launching. Yeah, we should talk for sure.
Yeah, we should talk, because I'd be like the guy that says, this is silver for dummies or the uneducated, and I'd be like asking all the questions because I really don't know, and it'd be like, I'm not acting. I'm really telling you because I really don't know and I want to know.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, and it's a hidden gem, especially in the finance industry, right? It's not something that's talked about, which is why it's like it's an uphill battle to like talk to people to see it. Like, I mean, and I share these like screenshots of client accounts, right? And people are like, "Oh, well, yeah, but easy win." I'm like, "This is whipping." I talked about this years ago, and it's like it's just been happening, and now it's starting to, take off. So
let me ask this last question. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, so people who are listening and they're like, they want to do something, obviously they can get a hold of you. We got your information where they can contact you. How easy and how long does it take to transfer like $100,000 worth of RSPs into silver?
It's a kind of a loaded question. We usually tell people it's about 4 to 6 weeks, because your relinquishing institution, i.e. the banks and the financial companies that are holding it, don't want your money to leave.
Yeah.
We have so many roadblocks and like, where they're stopping things. We've had clients have their wires like told, the bank's telling them no, they won't send a wire for it. Like, it's a lot. And we educate clients. We tell them how to like take the steps to do what they need to do. And I tell them all, I'm like, the bank is still trying to tell Canadians that we're in an okay situation and don't panic.
Oh,
and I'm like, if we're in a good time, what are they going to do when we're in a bad time?
This is so messed up in so many ways. Oh my goodness, bro. Okay.
Yeah. And so, I mean, my social media, I try to share quite a bit. A lot of it is sound bites. I'm starting to talk a lot more on there on my stories and make more posts. I need to. Now's the time. It's just, I want more and more people to be aware. I have an assistant, so we can do a lot of transfers. It's not like there's a wait list in the form of like, I have a busy schedule. I'm helping a lot of people. But when somebody calls, like, I want to help them, we send them education kind of I say like pamphlet, like there's some videos or some stuff that they need to watch so that they can get educated. I don't want to repeat myself 1,000 times about, I say simple stuff. It's not for the people. They need to learn. So it's like, I want to work with people that are willing to put in a little bit of work and understand the concepts without hearing it from my own mouth. Right. So,
I think a lead magnet with the free course would be the great way to get people educated and then get them to book calls. Okay, awesome. So there you have it, guys. Here's a crash course on wealth preservation through precious metals. You can go to the YouTube playlist where Luke Spicer talks more about how you can get more educated on this and learn how this works. And, he's helping Canadians invest to protect and grow their assets. So if you guys want to reach out to Luke, you can find him on various platforms on Facebook. You can find him on Instagram. You can find him on LinkedIn, and you can find him on X. So once again, Luke, for spicing things up, silver and gold investing, wealth preservation and growth, and even educating on the history of money has been eye-opening. So thanks, on behalf of everyone, we're here to help you to sell more, to give more. We'll talk soon, Luke. Take care.
Appreciate you, bro.
Hey, take care.
Massive.